How you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Microsoft is less than happy with the CMA's decision to enter a second phase. I want to talk a little bit today about that and a little bit about what will happen if the CMA block this deal. Let's get into it.
We're on a mission from God.
Today, we're going to be talking about how Microsoft hit back at the CMA for its decision to go into a second phase regarding the ABK deal. But before I do, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like the content, share it out, let a friend know. Let's get into it. So Microsoft's direct response to CMA going into phase 2, where they will be investigating the deal further. Some of their comments were extremely PlayStation centric and a little bit concerning, especially if you're Microsoft or a consumer at all. Whenever a regulatory board is looking at a deal, you want them to look at the deal from a perspective of is this good for a consumer, not is this good for the company or not. And it very much feels like the CMA currently are looking at this deal from a perspective of PlayStation, which is just not how things should be done by regulatory boards. However, Microsoft said today these unsupported theories of harm are not sufficient to justify a reference to phase 2. The suggestion that the incumbent market leader with clear and enduring market power could be foreclosed by the third largest provider as a result of losing access to one title is not credible, which is completely true. Sony's been talking about how Call of Duty would just break them. Sony very much have the power to compete. They're just choosing not to. This is a way for them to get out of jail free card if they can make this happen. This is of zero cost to them. All they have to do is try to convince these regulators, just one of them, that the ABK deal is bad for business, and then that shuts Microsoft down. It means that they won't have to compete. It saves them a lot of money, a lot of effort, and a lot of worry. So moving on, Sony engages in conduct today which is reflective of its market power in console gaming, including increasing prices of its console without fear of losing market share. And that's 110% true. They've engaged in a lot of anti-consumer practices this generation, sadly. They do go on to say a little bit more. In short, Sony is not vulnerable to a hypothetical foreclosure strategy, and the referral decision incorrectly relies on self-serving statements by Sony, which significantly exaggerate the importance of Call of Duty to it and neglect to account for Sony's clear ability to competitively respond. 110% true. It's great to see Microsoft turning around and hitting back and being honest. They're pointing out the CMA is being Sony-centric. It's really strange. It's not something you would expect to see. But I mean, you would expect to see them question maybe cloud, having a look into cloud, having a look into subscriptions, but looking directly at an IP as a reason to shut a deal down is just insanity to me. While Sony may not welcome the increased competition, it has the ability to adapt and compete. Gamers will ultimately benefit from this increased competition and choice, which again, 110% true. So what happens if the CMA blocks this deal? And make no mistake, they can actually block this deal. That is how it works in England. And I picked up a little bit of information on Twitter today. Very interesting read. I'm not a lawyer, but it's very interesting to know how the CMA works and how UK law works. Thanks to Posted for this information. So there's some confusion here about what can and cannot be appealed and how this works with the CMA, and then various linking to CAT and or court cases involving CMA. I will try to break down slightly, bearing in mind this is not an easy task. So I'll read through all this and just give you a quick breakdown of what it means. We are talking about a merger here, which, for reference, the CMA are given jurisdiction to review, provided it meets the requirements therein, pursuant to an Enterprise Act in the UK, blah-de-blah-de-blah. What that basically means is it an acquisition? Is it a merger? Does it fall into their purview to regulate this? It does. So that's not really a massive thing. Parties aggrieved by a decision can appeal to CAT. So they can appeal this decision, absolutely. However, the process is extremely difficult once the CMA's made their decision. This is a crucial component. CAT will only apply a judicial review standard when reviewing a decision. In other words, they will not engage in substantive merits of the CMA's decision, but look only as to whether the way in which the decision was made was illegal or otherwise had some procedural impropriety involved, broadly speaking. As such, CAT will never and cannot review a decision of the CMA solely based on the conclusion the CMA came to. What that means is the CAT cannot roll back the decision. They can send the CMA back to the drawing board and tell them to change these specific processes they used to come to their decision. And then the CMA again will have another bite at the cherry. So not ideal, especially the way the CMA is behaving. If the CAT determines any of the above has been engaged, it will send the decision back to the CMA again. Typically, the CMA must then engage the review process again, but of course, fixturing the procedural issue, we just spoke about this. And so the second part of that is there is an extremely limited secondary appeal process under the Enterprise Act, where if CAT permits, it can allow an appeal to the Court of Appeal by an afflicted party, but only on a question of law. There is also a very, very difficult appeal procedure directly to the COA if CAT deny the appeal, again, on any question of law basis. A question of law can only arise effectively if CAT, in its review, reaches a conclusion either A, on which no reasonable person could have come to it, or B, where there is no evidence to support the finding of the fact on which CAT's decision was based. These are extremely high thresholds and can, again, only when boiled down, go to CAT's judicial review of the CMA's decision. As such, there is again no means of actually appealing the conclusions made by the CAT and in turn the CMA in respect of the merits of their decision vis-a-vis a merger. What they're saying is that they can review each process and to make sure that that process was fair and reasonable. They can't repeal any decisions. So that is an extremely difficult process. Being that it is a very difficult process to go through in that country with the CMA, I believe is why Microsoft is hitting back so hard. But it is a great thing to see Microsoft step up to the plate and start really telling it like it is. We've been hearing it from people in the community for so long. We've been saying it for such a long time, and it's really good to see Microsoft, as I said, step to the plate and really start knocking it out of the park. And whether this deal goes through or not, I think we're going to see a very different Microsoft from here on out. If you like the content, please hit the like and subscribe button, share it out, guys, and I will see you in the next one.